Chai, water, fruits. You think that everybody's going to a funeral, not to work, but nuts, sweets, and like that. Yeah, that's the first impression you will get. At
internet
one point,
is also bad.
bad internet in Germany.
Yes.
Like I was about to say it, but I know it's too good. It's too good to say it in this video.
Materials. Hey guys, my name is Bharat.
My name is Alina.
And being an Indo-German couple, we are very well aware about all of the different kind of cultural differences that you would see in the Indian culture versus the German culture. And this is the reason we wanted to sit down in this video and share with you the perspective of an Indian who is a German national now and a German who actually grew up in Germany.
Yeah.
So this is the main point, because most of the other videos that we see on YouTube, they just have like one perspective only. So you cannot really talk about the cultural differences if you haven't had the other person from other country on the channel or on the video and get their experiences too.
Yeah, and we want to keep this video very diplomatic because, like Bharat mentioned, I have seen these similar videos from other YouTubers in the same field. I know that these YouTubers, they don't say much bad things about India, for example, because they know their main viewers are Indians, so they don't want to offend them, so it's more like of a one-sided, like bad against Germany. And I want to keep this video diplomatic. That's why we have 5 good things about Germany, 5 bad things about Germany.
The same with 5 good things about India and 5 bad things about India.
Yes, so should we start with India or Germany? What do you think?
I think let's start with India.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's start with the good always.
The thing that is very underrated in India is how diverse and how multicultural it is. Like every single time I think about it, my mind is blown that a country with so many different languages and so many different cultures can still function. They can still like kind of like, you know, not go absolutely crazy and like, you know, fight with each other or something, because this is a big achievement that many people like don't really understand. You go from one state to the other state and all of a sudden the language changes. You cannot read the script written on the boards and stuff, which is like absolutely crazy. So that is one thing that India has really going on for itself, that is like acceptance for different kind of cultures, that you could have a different kind of language and it is still completely fine, even though like you're from one single country itself. I think that is something that many other countries don't know about. That's why I say like India is like the mini Europe. Like you have every single state like their own language, their own culture and so on, which is very nice.
So that's a good thing, the multicultural, and it's so diverse.
The second thing which is very positive about India is how hospitable they are towards their guests, because in India we have the saying called Atithi Devo Bhava. That means the guests are God. And that is a very nice kind of like sentiment that you would also see whenever you have some kind of festivals and stuff going on, when some guests come to your house and you can have some nice demands from them. And like most of the times like people are going to feel this obligation that is a guest, and you don't behave with them in a rude way or something, and you try to accommodate them as good as possible. Of course there are some kind of like, you know, let's say different experiences that people might have here or there, but this is the general norm, and this is also how I grew up in India, always like respecting whenever you have guests at home.
And I think like this inviting culture is also like crazy, like everybody invites you.
No,
to
you
the
have
house.
to come to our house. You have to come to our house.
Yeah.
Like it's just every single meeting ends with that. Like, you know, how about you come to our house the next time and things like that, which is very warm. Like it's not cold at all, and of course then you just feel so much happier.
Yeah, sometimes like from my perspective it gets difficult if you have like a limited amount of time which you want to spend with your like in-laws, and then everybody's inviting you, and then like that time gets like lesser and lesser with your family. But like overall it's really nice, and I think the least I always get when I visit somebody's place in India is chai, water, fruits, nuts, sweets, and like that is like the least you will get, and then there could be so much more.
And like of course in our culture, like you always say, hey, when you go to somebody's house you don't like, you know, eat so much and stuff, like to be polite. And then I see like Alina like absolutely happy with like everything available. Like Alina just like kind of let's wait a bit.
Yeah,
but
for
everybody's
me, if you put something out, then it's for eating and not for like decoration.
Yes. The third positive thing about the Indian culture is you have a culture of saving money. you learn it from your parents, and you know that when you have some kind of bigger investments coming up in life, for example, you have to go and study, you have some kind of, let's say, coaching, you have weddings, you have all of these things, you need to have some money saved up. And that is where I believe that like Indian culture teaches the right things to the children. That is like, when you are growing up, when you earn some money, you have to put a part of that money aside to save for your black days, so that in case things go wrong, you still have some kind of money, some kind of cushion to fall back on.
This is a very good thing, but I have to throw in something German in there, and that is that like you should still invest in quality. Like saving money is not always the best solution. Like if you always buy cheap, then it will also not last you for long. So sometimes investing in quality makes so much more sense. So
Yeah,
just,
no, absolutely. But I think like this is what like many Indians understand. When you're like investing in education and stuff, like they do not worry too much about money. They want to ensure that you get the best education possible and so on. But yes, like here and there you get people who are like, who just want to save money on everything, which is not the right thing. But I think like this is something that is very individual from family to family. But the norm is that you save money and you have a moral obligation to do that. Number 4 is a lot of festivals. I remember when we used to have these English exams in our schools, you would have this essay where you would like write about festivals and how like India is the country of festivals, and you have so many different kind of celebrations going on in so many different religions, which is something definitely unique to India. And you have just like almost every month or every second month or something, some kind of holidays coming up. It's very nice when you're studying in a university or something, because you have so many holidays, you have so much time to spend with your family, and that is something that I definitely miss.
yeah, and I can also speak about this because when I was working in the Indian consulate, obviously we were celebrating all the holidays, and we had so many like pizza parties, Indian food parties, or like some functions in the consulate, and you always have sweets and samosa and like celebrating, dancing, all sorts of things, and it was very nice. Definitely more exciting than working in a German office.
Now, number 5 is respecting the elders and attachment to the family. I think this is something which is again positive to a limit. I think like of course you have to like make a distinction, like, you know, where it becomes too much, and there we are going to like talk about it in the other side too. But I believe that this kind of like culture that you have, that if there's somebody who is elder than you, that you have to respect them, that you have to like leave the seat for them, things like that. I think this is very positive in India, and something that everybody should really carry with them, no matter what kind of country they move to afterwards.
Very true. Now that we spoke about India's good sides, let's go to Germany's good sides. And point number 1 is hardworking, efficient, and productive. I can talk about this from my own work experience in Germany. Like the moment I started working in a German like environment, there was a lot of like hard work, and they were always pushing me to like work harder and to do more in my time, and like not to ask too many questions, to find things out by myself so I can learn from them.
I think this is the one thing that they are always looking forward to, because like I worked in a company for 18 months as a work student, then I also did an internship for 3 months, and I've seen this, like this is really the norm, that you try to get things done on your own. And I think one thing that I really find missing in the Indian working culture is like you just give your people the task, and then afterwards, once they have done the task, they don't care to kind of like come and like ask if they can help with more things, which is a understandable thing in Germany. Like you have to ask in case you run out of your task, or you have accomplished all of the tasks that were given to you.
Yeah.
So this is something I find really positive.
Like you have 8 hours in a day, and let's say you are done after 4 hours, you have to go and ask for more tasks. You cannot just sit down and like do nothing.
Yeah.
And they will get really upset if they see you do nothing. Like they're paying you for a reason, and they expect that you use the time fully.
8 hours, you have to work like a machine, and like this is a very like I think German saying that you work like a machine, or something, that Germans work like a machine, and that's like really true.
Then second thing is honest and straightforward. I personally grew up in Germany, so I can say that like I absolutely love this culture. I also experience different things from other cultures, and I don't like it. Like I like when you tell me straight to my face if you have a problem or if there's something to be improved. instead of just firing me or like not speaking to me or like talking behind the back or
Yeah, yeah.
something like that.
I think this culture of like kind of building things up inside your heart before like exploding. I've seen this unfortunately like many times in like the Indian work culture compared to the German one. In German, like you generally like always say right away that hey, this is the thing that which we do not really like, and that can lead to some uncomfortable situations. It is completely normal, but at least like you avoid the situation where all of a sudden somebody tells you were doing bad at this, you were doing bad at this, bad at this, bad at this,
And you're
and
fired.
yeah, you're fired. Like that does not really help that much. I think this is also the place where I have a lot of discussion with Alina, where I tell her like, hey, like you can be also polite to somebody, and she's like, I'm not being rude, I'm just trying to be straightforward so there's no misunderstanding afterward.
Yeah, like sometimes people like sugarcoat things,
Yeah.
and then it leads to like misunderstanding, and I think saying it straightforward so they understand it 100% is so much better. And that's something which I find like really, really positive in German culture, and I really like it. And I know that Bharat in the starting when he came, he was feeling like many times I'm being rude to him or mean or something like that, but that was not my intention. That's just how I grew up, and he had to get used to it. But
Not
now,
really.
I think he's
I
also
had
like that.
to kind of like adjust Alina. I think like it was an adjusting process on both of our ends.
Yeah.
Like she got a bit more polite, I got a bit more straightforward, and like then we found a nice balance in the middle.
Yeah, that's true. Third point is that Germans are clean, they take care of their environment. We don't just throw things away on the side of the road just because it's convenient and I don't want to like take the extra mile to find a trash can. Like many times even like it is being taught to us that just keep it in your pocket if you have like a candy wrapper or something, and then when you see a trash can just throw it inside instead of just like throwing it like that.
I think there's one misconception here, like where people feel like Indians who go abroad like behave in a certain way abroad, and like afterwards once they come to India they behave in a certain way. I don't believe that to be 100% true, because like when you start living abroad you get this habit that you search for a trash can before you throw the trash somewhere. So I do believe that like when they come back, like they try to follow the same thing, but like if there are less trash cans available at all and stuff, then like hey, sometimes people feel like they don't have an option. Many people like kind of have this kind of notion that because like Indians are double-faced, that you go abroad, you behave in a certain way, you come back to the country, you behave in the same way, and I don't believe that is true at all. I think when you go back to India still, like as a person who is like not a resident of India afterwards, you still try to look for a trash can before, you know, disposing of your trash. So
I think when you go abroad, you get the best of two worlds. Like when you learn something in Germany, you bring it back to India, and you try to follow the same good rules. And same with what you take from India, you take to Germany. Like instead of thinking that somebody got high nose just because he went
and
abroad.
not just that, you also like influence others, like, you know, the people around you, your smaller cousins, your brother, your parents. They also see these kind of habits, and then they also like learn from this. So I personally see this kind of like exchange to be very positive.
Then the fourth point is respect your privacy and acknowledge your boundaries. I find this point like one of the most important ones, because I don't want my boss to get into my private like stuff. For example, when I was working in the Indian consulate, I had to inform them where I'm going on the weekends and like in general what I'm doing, and sometimes they used to text me after office hours asking me things, like not respecting my privacy at all. And that's what I really hated. Like, and in Germany there are so many rules for the like employees that like things like that cannot happen or like shouldn't happen. Like it's nobody's business what you do outside your working hours. Of course, if you like bashing the company and something, that's something else, but like the normal things what you do on your weekend, it's nobody's business. And then also respecting boundaries, for example, like with parents, and there's a time and age for everything. And after like the age of 18, they will kind of let you have more freedom and let you make your own decisions and mistakes. It's important to make mistakes because you learn like that. So I really like that they respect your boundaries and that they give you this freedom. And I don't think that has anything at all to do with neglect. that is, in my opinion, like you really care about your child, you want him to succeed in life.
Yeah, the thing is, like, many people just like take this into such a bad tone, and like that was the one reason which also like motivated us to like make this video, that like just because you're giving somebody their privacy when they are of age, and of age means like 18, when they're of age, of course they don't understand the world, they are still like kind of new to the world, they're still like learning things, but if you don't let them make mistakes, the resentment grows amongst people. So this is something that I personally like. And also, like Alina said, when she was working in the Indian consulate, like she was getting invited to like these kind of like, you know, Sunday meetings and things like that, like, you know, let's gather together on Sunday, let's have a lunch or something. Alina was like, look, I have my own family to take care of too, and like I want to spend some time with my husband.
Like you work Monday to Friday, you need at least 2 days for yourself, and then after office hours, after seeing your colleagues for like the whole 5 days more than my own husband, I have to go on the weekend and meet them. And it was not like, you know, you should meet us. It was like more like you have to meet us, and that's
more like obligation.
What I really hated.
So I think like at that time, like Alina used to leave for office at 7:30 in the morning, and she would come at 6 in the evening back home, and like we would have time from 6 to 10 most probably, like where we are still awake and like, you know, talking, like doing things. And then you have like on the work side you have 8 or like, you know, 9 hours, almost more than that sometimes, and like where you're just there.
The problem was also that, like, for example, the diplomats, they came from India, they don't have family around, not many friends, so they wanted to make friends and like family in the office, but like everybody who is local has their own life, so the understanding was missing a lot, so that was a big problem. Okay, let's go to the last point, which is independence from early age. That kind of goes hand in hand with the previous point, that like from early age it's normal to start working from the age of 15, 16. You get some work experience, you become more confident because you're dealing with people, and it is like I think say 100 benefits of why it's good to start working early. And then also, like I said, from the age of 18 you kind of like you have more freedom, you can move out, you can like have your own experiences, parents will not get involved all the time, and they will let you make the mistakes, they will give you maybe a suggestion, but that's it, and then it's up to you to follow that suggestion or not, but like you have the freedom.
Yeah, I think like that's where we really differentiate from India, like in terms of the independence that you're given like from the starting age. And that's how you see, like in my class, like there were Germans who didn't know half the things sometimes, but like they were just so confident in speaking their mind, and like were like just completely fine sharing their opinion and stuff, were super independent, where like at times I knew the things and I was like, okay, like, you know, I'm not 100% sure right now if this is how it goes. So this is how you see like how these two different cultures like raise their children. Like there are positives, there are negatives, but I think like the independent side, I think that is very, very important. Like sometimes I get appointments with students and I kind of solve their questions about studying in Germany and so on, and there's a 25-year-old, 26-year-old student sitting with their mother or their father and asking me questions about like studying in Germany, when I think to myself like, how is it possible? Like that you're so old essentially and you still need your father by your side.
Yeah, it is pretty ridiculous in my eyes, and this is something I can vouch for that would not happen in Germany, 100%. These were the 5 good points for Germany. Let's go to India's 5 bad points.
The first one is that life needs to be in a fixed template, that you study, you find a job, you settle down, you have kids, and then you repeat it over and over again. I think there is very little room to be creative. Of course, like after a lot of like, you know, new movies, series, more awareness and stuff, these things are changing a little bit, but I think it is still not at the stage where you can be completely free and you can do exactly what you want to do. I think India still has a long way to go till it can be like, you know, just more accepting and say, okay, if you don't want to be an engineer, lawyer or doctor, it's still fine for us and you can do what you want.
In my eyes, as a foreigner looking from outside, sometimes I find it very problematic how like things get passed on from generation to generation and there's just no change there. And like also to have a other opinion is then seen as a bad thing in the eyes of the elders. And that's what I found like a problem many times, that for example the young people, they are willing to do a change or like ready for it, and then the elders say no, this is not okay, it shouldn't be like that.
Now the second point is family attachment, but here we are going to talk about the bad side, and that is like many people feel like they cannot like survive without their family, that they cannot like live without them, that even if they go abroad or something, how are they going to manage, because their parents are not going to be with them, their family is not going to be with them. And I think this is where you can learn from a lot of people who did something big in their life, and that was like they never like walked around with like 20, 30, 50 people. Like they were always doing things on their own. Like if you want to do something big, you have to essentially head out, you have to have that adventure when you're trying to like explore something new by yourself, for yourself. So I think that is one part which is like massively missing, definitely in the Indian culture.
And this has not 100% to do with this point, but like many times we get the question of like Germany's laws not allowing to bring over your parents, and of course for most Indians this is like a big,
it's a deal breaker for many
a
Indians.
deal breaker. But you have to think about also the realistic side of the thing. Let's say you are even able to bring your parents over, you have to take care of them financially, and it's very expensive when you go abroad. Health insurance, like all the social
Just
contributions,
the food and stuff too, like if you
food,
think about it,
housing, like it is a
These
few
things add up.
thousand euros like you will have to. And unless you have a very good job, I don't see it being realistic that you bring your parents over. And even though it might feel like a horrible thing not to like see your parents grow old and things like that, but many people had to take this way to have a better life.
I mean, no, just like take inspiration from your own parents. Like how many times did they get the opportunity to meet their parents when they moved into the city? Like they were like busy raising you, they were busy doing their jobs and kind of making sure that you have enough resources to live your life. So like sometimes you might have to make these kind of like sacrifices, but it's not that dramatic in the sense that you can still bring your parents over for 6 months period in a total of a year. So you can still be like around them, you can still call them over. So that would be one positive.
Honestly, that is in my eyes more realistic financially, and also because Bharat and I now found this compromise that like we are both living away from our families, which okay, that might sound now bad, but like I think it's better this way, because now we are like on equal parts. Like he's not with his family, I'm not with his family, so like, and we would have seen his family more if COVID was not there.
Yeah, we
So
were planning to go.
At least we get to see my family now once in a while. But obviously when the borders open, we will try to see his family like at least a month in a year. I think that was previously normal for us. So yeah, I think it's pretty unrealistic if you have a normal job, like even a normal engineering job in Germany, to bring your parents over, because it would be such a big financial burden. And it will be the same in other countries as well.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I think you can also like try to help your parents like back home by
Yeah.
sending money and stuff. I think that's also one thing you can do.
getting them a better house, getting them a better apartment, taking care of their medical
And
bills.
also not just that, like the social side of the things. Like if you take them to Germany in an older stage, like where they don't know the people around them and stuff.
Yeah.
I tell you, like I think when you come to Germany, you will experience it yourself that it can get like pretty depressing at times, because making friends and stuff, like it takes time. That is going to be something that we're going to discuss later. But like, so for older people, it just gets like even more difficult.
And then it's also, you have to, because your parents will be bored, they don't have friends there, so they will want 100% attention from you. But if you are at the same time trying to build a family, you have a wife, it will be very difficult.
The third point is being very sensitive. So, for example, now we are talking about the negative things, and you can directly read in the comments like how many people will still get offended, even though we have said in the starting that we are going to be like very fair, and we try to like pick the good things and the bad things of both of the cultures. So this is one thing that you have to like also like think that like why is there so much like sensitivity, like if people get offended very very quickly. Like of course like this again is changing a bit. Like it is getting a little bit better, but like not such major progress. This is something that we also have to like really talk about.
Even like when Bharat and I start dating, like in the starting, I was just feeling like he's getting like sensitive about everything but at the same time I also have to understand him. He's coming to a new country, learning new things, and it was definitely better for him to be like in a interracial marriage, because I was so much more patient and I could explain him everything. But let's say you go alone to Germany, then like be ready that people are more straightforward, and it's not against you. That is something
They just want to get the point across.
Yeah.
Then the fourth point is people get influenced very easily. I mean, you have seen so much propaganda like happening, not just in politics, but also like in other stages. Like sometimes somebody tells you, okay, like I'm having this plan for my future. I will go to this university, this country, or so on. And all of a sudden, like everybody like starts following that. And that is, I think, one big negative that people should really keep in mind. The fifth point is social pressure. I think many times the people around you, your relatives, your uncle and aunties, like the neighbors and stuff, they can really put a lot of like mental pressure on you to get you into a specific direction. For example, government jobs, preparation of GATE exam, IES, UPSC, SSC, all of these things. And they will just say, you know, what is the point of going abroad when you can get everything in India and so on. So like they just try to like force you against your will to do something which you might not be 100% interested in. That is something which I absolutely do not like.
So these were the Indian bad sides. Now let's do the German bad sides. And point number one is that I find Germans sometimes very grumpy. I can say that because I was living in other countries and I have seen people there. And in comparison, Germans are more grumpy, which is unfortunate. Like in the mornings, you will see Germans in the train like having a frown. You think that everybody is going to a funeral, not to work. But like I don't know, it's just very normal. And then usually after 8 o'clock, when they had their first coffee, like everybody is more active, more happy. But it's like a very normal thing. Sometimes when you just ask somebody randomly, he will like be a little bit grumpy, but then later when he talks a little bit to you, like he will be very nice.
Yeah, in the starting it's like a bit of a grumpy thing, like happens very often, but like as soon as the conversation starts going on, like then all of a sudden like they're more than happy to help out. So I think this is
yeah, it is like sometimes very annoying if you live there, but like when you get used to them, when you know that like after some time they will get nicer, or like they don't mean it that way, then it's fine. But yeah, that's the first impression you will get. Then difficult to make friends. Yes, it is very difficult to make German friends. To get inside some social circle.
It takes time. It takes awful amount of time sometimes. If you're lucky, like of course you can find the good breaks and stuff, but many times it just takes a lot of time.
Finding friends in general is not easy because you have to have the same interest. You have to have something to talk about. Like a conversation can get boring very quickly. And then I think with Germans are so like time efficient that they don't want to waste their time on like some stupid people or some people they are not interested talking to, and then like it's really hard for them to like try to get new friends who...
I think this is one thing that you will also like kind of pick up once you start living in Germany, and that is like living by the calendar and like, you know, having appointments, and like if you want to meet with somebody, you want to like kind of check your calendar and see, okay, like from what time to what time do you have some kind of free time that you can like kind of meet up with them and everything.
And I think Germans get disappointed very quickly. Like you, let's say you have a meeting, you cancel like last minute, you will be already on the blacklist. Third point is a word called spießig in German. There's no translation to it in English. We just have to try to explain it
to you. Let's say an entire airplane is empty and the German has only one seat allotted to him. So he's going to go, and if there's somebody else sitting there, he's going to go to exactly that seat.
And
he's going to ask the other person to move, and then he's going to go and sit there.
Or for example, somebody is looking out the window and sees me throwing the trash in another trash container. He will call the police and tell them about, not police or some like Ordnungsamt, I don't know the German word. So these type of I hope you can understand what we mean by it. So basically, you always follow the rules, and you don't care if it's
Like-
okay or not okay.
Yeah, like, so we're not talking about illegal things that like it's illegal or something. We're just talking about like that's not exactly the rule, and like maybe you're not harming anybody when you're doing that, but like they will still like kind of follow what
you can sit on a other seat easily. The airplane is, but just because you have that seat, you want to sit there. Like this type of thing is called spießig, and that's what I think that's the biggest thing I hate about Germans.
Yeah.
And then rigid, Bharat wrote this, so I don't know exactly.
So from rigid, I really mean that like if you have some kind of like deadlines and stuff, and even if like something went wrong, like sometimes you will come across your professors or your supervisors, your like teammates and stuff who do not care about it. Like if there was like work to be done till that time, then you should not have waited till the last moment to like submit it. You should have already done it like a few days before or something like that.
No.
And if you kind of like submit even 1 minute later, then you're done. Like your assignment will not be accepted, your presentation will not be accepted, and so on.
Or let's say, for example, with a bill that has to be paid,
Oh yes.
you pay 1 day after the deadline, and you
Fine.
call them and say, okay, look, I have made the payment now. They will say, no, you still have to pay the fine.
Yeah.
So that is kind of annoying that there's no like, people don't try to come your way.
Yeah.
In Denmark, I have that feeling many times, like so many times we were at the border, we didn't have the right documents with us, and they were like, okay, we're just gonna act like we haven't seen, and you just move. Like people are very like nice that way, that they will come your way and try to be nice.
At that time, like when we were kind of taking the stuff to Denmark, I did not have my passport. I just had the citizenship certificate. Like that is like I'm a German citizen now. And like of course with that you are generally not allowed to like travel, but we were like, hey, like we have a house here and everything. We showed them the papers, and we were like, the passport is still being made, so like can you still let us in? So they were like, yeah, pretty chilled out. But I mean Denmark is fine, but again it also has its own problems that we are going to like talk about sometime else. Yeah,
Denmark has also problems. The last point is Stone Age banking and payment system, and I think Bharat can
I
talk about
absolutely
this.
hate that. I hate that so much that if you don't have this Giro card or EC-Karte, which is given out by most of the German banks, you cannot like pay in so many different places. So if you have a normal MasterCard, Visa, American Express or something, you cannot pay in many places, which is not so nice. And you still need cash for so many things, which is like really...
And
I cannot understand that.
Annoying because everywhere we travel,
we just use our phone, like
Turkey,
just double tap and like
Turkey, India, wherever we go, like you
always
can
with the phone.
But Germany is so way behind.
Yeah.
And okay, I was only supposed to say 5 points, but I want to add 1 point.
Internet is also bad.
Bad internet in Germany.
Like absolutely horrible internet. Like we have for 100 Mbps or something, you pay. Like you don't even get 100 Mbps like by paying for that. Like sometimes like just get like 60 or 50
and
or
then
something.
They say this excuse, everybody in the house has this internet, and then that's why it's not 100.
That's such nonsense in Denmark. Like we have the house and like we have the internet for like 1000 Mbps. We bought a very nice router and like we love being there and like working there.
I'm thinking in Germany, like I don't care about this at all, like that everybody has the same internet. I'm paying for something, why am I not getting it? And okay, I'm gonna, well actually I think we have to do another video, so comment down below if you want to see a part 2, because I can think of some more German bad and good things, especially one bad thing I think which everybody hates. So if you want to see it, comment down below, and I think that's
Alina is putting the cliffhanger like very solid.
No, like I was about to say it, but I know it's too good. It's too good to say it in this video.
Material. So we're going to like talk about it in the next video. We have listed down some free resources, free trainings and stuff in the description. So if you want to like come and start your studies in Germany or want to start working or something, you can take a look at that. And I hope that we were able to like do this topic some justice, because Alina like grew up in Germany. She knows the culture inside out. I grew up in India. I know that culture inside out, and like it is much better to like have this kind of discussion when you have spent 5 years living together, being married. I
Almost
think like
6 now.
Yeah. So that's like absolutely crazy, and
Yeah.
so I think this is where we try to like give you the better kind of information, so you understand exactly what kind of things are positive, what kind of things are negative, and where you should keep an eye out.
We are education channel, so we have nothing to lose. So we can say the bad things about Germany, the bad things about India, but we want to keep it respectful and in a diplomatic way. Obviously, no country is perfect, and every country has its flaw.
Yeah.
So I hope we made this video justice.
Because of course, like if we make a negative video about Germany, we can get so many more clicks because hey, everybody's like hungry about it, and like the same thing like with India and stuff. But like I don't really want to do that. I think like that just does not really add value. Like it does not solve a problem.
Yeah.
And if you're able to like bring the positive and negative, I think that adds so much more value to you, and you can actually use it
Yes,
to build your life better.
that's true.
Perfect. Yes, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel and share this video with your friends, and I will see you in another video.
Bye.